Hello guys, welcome back. Something a little bit different today, and this is one of my all-time favourites, although I've not had one for a while, so I'm quite excited about this. We are going to set up an enclosure here for African flat rock scorpion, which I think are just amazing things. They really are pretty cool. So what we're going to do, we're going to have a simple setup. I'm going to use this beardy life, because these guys like it fairly dry, and I think this will be a nice contrast with the stone that we're going to use and things like that. So we're going to try and make a relatively naturalistic type thing. Now we have a few things that we need to bear in mind when we're setting up this sort of thing, because we're going to be using stone here, and I've got a fair bit of stone here, so we've got some stuff to choose from. Now, as the name suggests, it's a flat rock scorpion, and these guys can compress their bodies very, very flat, and they get in amongst crevices in the rocks and things like that, and that's where they live. So they live in a microclimate. Although they're coming from southern Africa, where the temperatures outside get really, really hot, where they're in their rocks, they actually can find cooler places. And although the climate there is very, very dry, within the spaces of the rocks, there will be a certain amount of humidity. So they don't like a lot of humidity. We're looking at around about 50–60%, but it's quite important. So we're going to try and mimic that in our enclosure. Now we've got a little 20 by 20 by 20 Komodo here. And like I said, we're going to use the substrate in the bottom. But what I want to do first, I want to try and work out how we're going to have our rock formation and have it safe, because the last thing we want is for this to collapse and squash our scorpion. So what we're going to do, we're going to have a dry run and see what we can achieve. Now this is dragon rock that I'm using here now. This is a really rather nice sort of rock. And basically you just got to be a little bit, see, like now, see, this could collapse. That's not really a good starting point, is it? So what we want is, we want something under there to try and secure that, if you like. Bearing in mind, once we've got a bit of substrate in, things will hold together a little bit better. What we're hoping to achieve, we want to get gaps under here like this, you see, so he can get in there and move about. We've got some rather large pieces here. It's all about, right, it's all about how we're going to fix this stuff. If we use that, right, I'll tell you what we do. My brain's ticking away, we've got an idea. Right then, what we're going to do now is we're going to leave that piece of stone in there. I've become quite fond of this stuff. Let's give it a nice look. Going to do, we've buried our bit of stone in there, you see. We want him to remain quite buried. Now our scorpion's probably going to bury down into this substrate as well. But what this is going to do is going to give a certain amount of stability in there, like so. Sometimes just because we use decoration and things like that doesn't necessarily mean that we need to see it. So it's often useful to be able to use it like in this particular way. So like we've used a couple of pieces of stone in here now that we're not ever going to see again, but they're actually helping to create the finished product. I don't like that. Should have brought me hammer. This is quite soft stone actually. And just take the tips off. There we go. Well, that's fitting a little bit better. Look at that, see? Not as daft as I look. Pull that out a little bit. In there. Starting to look half sensible. We need any more maybe? Maybe not. That's better. What we're doing is we're creating some tight crevices through here that he will be able to disappear into. I don't like that. A little bit down there like that. That's it, that will do him. I think that will give him a little something. You see how the different colours in the stone? It changes the look by having a different colour. At the moment these are all quite uniform and they go quite well with the sand. So I think we're going to stick with that. Now an interesting point with these guys is they're not known for drinking. But we're gonna give a little water bowl in here. I think they actually prefer to be sprayed. But we're gonna give a little water bowl just in case, and we're gonna see how things go. And if all the literature that I've read on these, no one's ever seen them drinking. So I think they actually get the vast majority of the benefit, the water content from their food and through a gentle amount of spraying. So in the wild state, these guys would be picking up dew of a night time and in the morning. And this is where they're getting their water content from. So we can keep him dry and we can give him a very, very light mist, say in the evening before the lights go out. We can just give this a light spray once a week. It's probably all it needs. And then she will get enough moisture from that to sustain her, what with her food as well. Now, what we're going to do now, we are going to have a look at her. What an awful mess I've made. Dearie me, look at this. Right. Let's have a look at her, shall we? Now we've only acquired her today, and she came from a local pet shop, and she is underneath this bit of bark, hanging on upside down. Look at that. Isn't she wonderful? Now these are classed as a fairly beginner type scorpion.
Is it a girl?
I don't know.
Oh.
We don't know. I think it quite possibly is, because the males, if you see here the tail, it's quite short. And the females carry a short tail and a slender tail, and the males carry a much longer tail. Now looking at this, she's got, I'd say that's a short tail, and I think the males carry much heavier pincers as well. Hers are quite short, quite petite really, aren't they? And you see the hairs on the pincers here? This is how she detects for food and things like that. Now these are quite happily defend themselves with these pincers, and they have got quite a strong nip. But they're not particularly prone for actually stinging. As you can see there, it's a very, very small stinger there. Very tiny. Compared to the rest of her build, she's quite a heavy, robust scorpion. These get quite a bit bigger as well. So it's not fully grown yet. But what an absolutely amazing looking creature. So what we're going to do, we're going to get our trusted paintbrush. And what we're going to do now is we're just going to pop her in. We're going to see if we can't get her to just walk off. Would you like to walk off nice and gently for me? There we go. Oh, see that? Look. Quite prepared to, hello, we're shaking hands. I'm quite prepared to defend herself there. There we go. I'll move this over that way a little bit. There we go. Now with these guys, they can take quite a tolerant temperature range, and of a night time they can go down to the very low 70s. 68 would probably be about as low as you'd like to go. Daytime temperatures we're looking at 80 plus, so they can take it really quite warm. You can see now as she's spread out how short her tail actually is, and there she goes. Look at that. She's compressed her body and she's disappeared around the side there. We'll well, that's very nice of you, isn't it? What a lovely view. Now what you will find with your scorpion, obviously, is because these guys are pretty much nocturnal, and this is why she's trying to hide away now. We've got her out in the daylight, and as far as she's concerned, that's not a good thing. She wants to be tucked away, hidden away, until night time. So what we will do later on is we'll try and get a little bit of night footage when she's out and about and she's hunting. Food wise, these guys don't need an awful lot of food. So one, for a scorpion this size, we're looking at one sort of medium to large cricket or a red runner only once every 7 to 10 days. So they don't require a lot of food. So in actual fact, when you break it down, they don't require very much of anything at all, really. They like a reasonably dry habitat. I like misting once a week just to go so they can have a drink, and one cricket every 10 days. Not bad at all, is it? Couldn't get a cheaper pet, really. So yeah, that is our African rock scorpion, southern Africa. Now these are guys, they're Hadogenes troglodytes is their Latin name, and there's around 16 of these guys in this family. So there are different ones, but this is the most common one that you will see. Right, well I hope you enjoyed that. Hopefully we'll see a little bit more of her in the evenings, and we'll try and get some footage for you. But yeah, what a wonderful little thing. Very impressive. Right then, so then, don't forget, be calm, be gentle, and love your spider. I'll see you soon. And your scorpions.